While you were thinking about it, someone else did it. While you were waiting to feel ready, someone less prepared took the position. While you were analyzing the risk, someone with half your ability made the move. This isn't motivation. This isn't a speech. This is a pattern, documented, repeated, predictable. And if you're honest with yourself, you've already watched it happen more than once. There's a psychological phenomenon called action paralysis. It doesn't affect people who lack ability. It disproportionately affects people who have it. The more you understand about a situation, the more variables you can see, the more risks you can identify, the more ways you can imagine it going wrong. Competence without the right mental framework becomes a trap. The person with less knowledge doesn't see the complexity, so they move, and while they're moving, you're still processing. This is not a character flaw. It is a mechanical problem with a mechanical solution. But most people never get to the solution because they misdiagnose the problem. They think hesitation is caution. They think waiting is wisdom. They tell themselves they're being strategic when what they're actually doing is standing still while the world reassigns what was supposed to be theirs. Here's what hesitation actually costs. Not in abstract terms, in concrete ones. Every major opportunity in your life has a window. Not a metaphorical window, a literal, measurable period of time during which that opportunity is available, and after which it is gone. The window doesn't wait for you to feel confident. It doesn't pause while you gather more information. It doesn't care that you almost moved. It closes. And on the other side of that closed window is someone else living the life you calculated. The research on decision-making is unambiguous. In high-stakes situations, delayed decisions don't produce better outcomes. They produce worse ones, plus the additional cost of the delay itself. You don't just lose the opportunity. You lose the time you spent not taking it. Both gone simultaneously. And here's the part that should make you deeply uncomfortable. The person who took it wasn't better than you. They were just faster. In 1997, a study at Columbia University tracked two groups of people over a decade. One group was defined by a tendency toward action, imperfect, sometimes premature, but consistent forward movement. The other group was defined by deliberation, careful analysis, risk assessment, thorough preparation before committing. At the 10-year mark, the researchers measured outcomes across career advancement, financial position, relationship satisfaction, and self-reported fulfillment. The action-oriented group outperformed the deliberation group in every single category. Not because they made better decisions, they didn't. They made more mistakes. But they also made more corrections, more adjustments, more iterations. While the deliberation group was still preparing to move, the action group had already failed, learned, adapted, and moved again. Repetition compressed their learning curve. Speed generated data that analysis alone could never produce. And the gap between the two groups widened every year. Because here's what most people don't understand about hesitation. It is not neutral. Every moment you don't move, you are not standing still. You are falling behind. The world is not a static board where you can pause and think indefinitely. It is a current, and the current moves whether you swim or not. The people who understand this don't move recklessly. They move deliberately, but immediately. There's a difference, and that difference is everything. Now, here's the part that changes the way you think about this permanently. Hesitation is not the problem. It is the symptom. The actual problem is a miscalibrated internal cost-benefit analysis. When you hesitate, your brain is running a calculation. It is weighing the perceived risk of moving against the perceived risk of not moving. And in most people, that calculation is broken. The risk of moving feels immediate, visceral, and real. The risk of not moving feels abstract, distant, and manageable. So the brain chooses the option that feels safer in the moment, even when it is catastrophically more expensive in the long run. This is not weakness, this is biology. Your nervous system was not designed for a world where the greatest threats are invisible, where the thing that destroys you isn't a predator, but a pattern. The solution isn't to stop calculating, the solution is to recalibrate what you're measuring. Start asking a different question. Not what could go wrong if I move, but what is already going wrong because I haven't. Think about the last time you hesitated on something that mattered, the conversation you kept postponing, the decision you kept researching instead of making, the move you knew was right and waited on anyway. Where are you now relative to that moment? Did the waiting make you more ready, or did it just make the window smaller? Because this is the cruel mathematics of hesitation. The longer you wait, the more you need the thing, and the less available it becomes. Confidence doesn't come before action, it comes from action. Every time you move despite uncertainty, your brain registers that you survived, that you handled it, that the outcome, whatever it was, didn't end you, and it recalibrates. Every time you hesitate, your brain registers that the threat was real enough to stop you, and it recalibrates in the opposite direction. You are training yourself every single day, either toward motion or toward paralysis. There is no neutral rep. The person who takes what's yours doesn't do it because they're better. They do it because they've trained their nervous system to treat uncertainty as a signal to move, not a signal to stop. That training is available to you. It has always been available to you. You already know what you need to do. You've known for a while. The information isn't the problem. The analysis isn't the problem. The preparation isn't the problem. The problem is the gap between knowing and moving. And in that gap, every day, someone less qualified is closing the distance. Not because they deserve it more, not because the universe favors them, because they moved and you didn't. That ends now, or it doesn't. But it doesn't end by thinking about it. Hesitation is a habit, and every habit can be broken if you understand the mechanism behind it. The next video goes into exactly that mechanism. What's actually happening in your brain in the moment before you stop yourself, and the single intervention that interrupts it. Mind siege.